What's up, everybody, and welcome back to B Sports Buzz, the half of all things sports. And today I got a good video for y'all. We're going to talk about the defending, reigning champs, New York Liberty. We're going to do a roster breakdown, talk about a little bit about how the roster can come together, what the expectations is for New York going into the season, and if they can get back to the mountaintop. New York finished the season last year, winning 32 games, losing 8. They were first in the league. They had the fifth best 3-point percentage in the league. They scored the most points a game in the league. And they also had the second best field goal percentage against in the league. So not only were they able to score the basketball, they were also able to defend at a high level, which ultimately propelled them to the top of the mountain and helped them win a championship. We're gonna start with this roster, and we're gonna start from the bottom and go on up. New York has some really good veteran pieces on this team. Um, just pieces that you truly don't want to let go, and you would be crazy to let go. We're gonna start with Benijah Laney Hamilton. Benijah is a 6 foot forward out of Rutgers. This will be her 10th season in a year, her 10th year in the league. She was drafted in the second round in 2015, pick number 17. She averaged 11.8 points per game, 4.2 rebounds a game, and 3.3 assists a game. She's a two-time All-Defensive Team honoree, and she also won Most Improved Player in 2020. Benijah is your definition of 3 and D. Like flat out 3 and D. She can go out there and guard the best player on the court no matter the size or the position. She can go out there and guard them at a high level. She also shoots the three ball well. She shot the three ball at 40% last season. Granted, she didn't play as many games. She only played 28 of the 40 games last season due to an injury on her lower leg where she had to get surgery. So it kept her out for some games. She ultimately came back during the playoffs, well, a little bit before the playoffs and going into the playoffs. And I think she played well, considering the fact that she wasn't fully healthy. You come back from an injury, you really you try to get back into the basketball field of things, but you really truly not healthy completely. And she played well. She contributed. She had a game where she was just like let out the best player on the court. And she defended well. She did what she do out there: defend and shoot threes, and that's what she did for this team. I know she recently just suffered an injury on rival, but I expect her to come back into the season and be fully healthy. So I can't wait to see what Benijah does this year. We're going to move up to Jonquel Jones. She's a 6'6" center from George Washington, straight out of the Bahamas. Jonquel is going into her ninth year in the league. She was drafted in 2016 in the first round, pick number 6. She averaged 14.2 points a game, 9 rebounds, 3.2 assists a game. She's a 3-time All Defensive Team honoree, 5-time All WNBA. She was a final MVP last season. She was most improved in 2017. She was the most valuable player in the league in 2021. And she was the 6th woman of the year in 2018. Jonquel is just, she came into the league a baller and she's still a baller. Like, she is a great center. She's one of the best centers in the league, if not the best center in the league. Um, she has a skill set that's so hard to guard because she's 6'6" and she shoots 38% from the three. At 6'6", shooting 38% from the three, a lot of centers don't want to come out to that 3-point line and have to guard you. But she does that. She stretches the floor. She can also put the ball on the floor. She's a very underrated passer. 3.2 assists coming from your center. And some games, she's leading the team in assists, like so underrated in assists. She just has some things to her games that You just look at her and you like, oh, Jonquel trying to be a big guard. That's what she's trying to do. But shooting 38% from the three as a 6'6" center is crazy. It's crazy work. She averaged 14.2 points a game. She can average a little bit more than that. You see in 2021, she averaged 20 points, but her role on the team don't require her to average more than 15 points a game. Like her role on this team, because this team is so stacked, this team is so well put together, you can have your starting five averaging between 13 and 16 points apiece, and that's enough to propel you to the championship. Like that's enough. That's okay. But I expect Jonquel to continue her play, continue to grow as a player, do what the team needs her to do. And yeah, Jonquel is Jonquel, man. Like she's the top of the top when it comes to centers in the W. Next, we're going to move to Brianna Stewart. She's a 6'4" forward from UConn. She was drafted in 2016. She's going into her ninth year. She was the first pick in a 2016 draft. She averaged 20.4 points a game, 8.5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists a game. Stewie awards and honors and just what she's done throughout her career is just a list of all lists, man. She will retire and be considered, if not become, one of the GOATs of this league. She's a 5-time All Defensive Team member. She was on an All Rookie team in 2016, All WNBA team 7 times, Final MVP twice, Most Valuable Player of the League twice, and she was Rookie of the Year in 2016. She's a 3-time WNBA champion, twice with the Seattle Storm and once with the New York Liberty. Stewie, her stats, you will see her stats and you will be like, dang, she had a great season. Me personally, I watched a lot of Brianna Stewart basketball last season, and I don't even think this was her best season. I feel like she struggled. She struggled from the 3-point line. She was 29% from the three. She shoots way better than that. Her career average is 35%. So shooting 29% from the three is a dip for Stewie. Her field goal percentage can be better than 45%. She shoots 47% over her career, so she's 2 points under that. That was a dip. Um, her points were there. Her points was there, but she's way more efficient than she showed last season. And the crazy and scary thing about this team is you had an inefficient Brianna Stewart, but you still won a championship. Imagine having a Brianna Stewart that's efficient, and you add her to the group of players that you have on this team already. It's scary. I think one of Stewie's underrated skills is that she's a good defender. She's 6'4", she's lengthy. She got 1.7 steals last season, 1.3 blocks. She's up there blocking the ball like she's the center of the team. She's a forward. She's playing the power forward position. And then when you change the lineup, sometimes Stewie moves down to the three. And then sometimes you will see Stewie get the ball and bring the ball up like she's a point guard. So she's very versatile. And that's the scary thing about this team. They have so many players who can play so many different positions and fill so many different roles. It's going to be hard this season for teams to figure this team out because it's just so versatile. Um, and I expect Brianna Stewart, she's a prideful player. Like I said, she will probably go down as a GOAT one day. She's a prideful player. I expect her to come in this season and try to get back to the level of play she's used to playing at. We're going to move right on to Kennedy Burke. Kennedy Burke is a guard forward. She's 6'1" out of UCLA. She's going into her 6th season. She was a second round pick in the 2019 draft. Pick number 22. She averages 3.4 points a game, 1.5 rebounds, and 0.9 assists a game. Um, to me, Kennedy Burke is a good piece to have on the bench. I believe she's going to be slotted down to that third string type player because of the addition of Izzy Harrison. Um, she's not like your top tier scorer. Um, she don't have something that she's specifically very special at, but she's just a basketball player. And sometimes you need just basketball players on your team. And she's that for New York. She shot like 25% from the three last season. Yeah, she's just that. But I think if it's one player on this team who role will be impacted from the addition of Isabel Harrison, is definitely going to be Kennedy Burke. We'll move on to Isabel Harrison. She's a 6'3" forward from Tennessee. She's going into her 8th year in the league. She was drafted in 2015 in the first round, pick number 12. She averaged 6.5 points a game, 3.9 rebounds, and 0.8 assists a game. Like I said, Izzy Harrison is probably going to have that role of like what KT and Kennedy Burke did for New York last season. She's probably a better scorer than both of those players. Both of those players are probably better defenders than Izzy, but Izzy can put the ball into the rim. Izzy don't shoot the three as well as them, so that can be a disadvantage. But she does like have some post moves and can play in the post and shoot the mid range shot. So I believe she's going to probably have a more utilized role than Kennedy Burke this season. We're going to move on to Sabrina Ionescu. She's a 5'11" guard from Oregon. She's going into her 6th year in the season. She was drafted in the 2020 draft. She was the first overall pick. Sabrina averaged 18.2 points a game, 4.4 rebounds, and 6.2 assists. With this 6.2 assists being the most impressive stat for me. Uh, she's an all defense. She's a 3-time All WNBA honoree. Um, as you know, Sabrina can pull that thing from half court. She can get to the rim. She can pull up with her floater from the mid range, something she added to her game this season. Because at first, Sabrina was either shoot the three or I'm going to the rim. That was her game for a while. I'm going to shoot the three or I'm going to the rim. I think her adding that floater to her game gave her that middle ground play she can go to when defenders cut her off from getting to the rim or play too close up on her to stop her from shooting the three. She can go around you and get that floater. So I'm excited that Sabrina added that to her game. Like I said, those 6.2 assists is very impressive to me because this was probably her first season. Uh, she played the point guard before, but she had a different load. Like I know she played the point guard before, but her load this season was different. You had injuries to Benija, you had injuries to Sloot, you had injuries to Stewie. And Sabrina was just that player that was just there. And she kept the ship afloat. She kept the ship going. She had some big games when those players went out with injury. She ran the offense really good. And it kind of took away from her 3-point shooting ability, but she was still able to shoot 33% from the three. Her field goal percentage took a dip from last season. She went from 42 to 39, but she started being able to find her teammates more, getting everybody involved in offense, and that's tough to do, especially when a team goes out and get a point guard like Courtney Vandersloot. You expect her to be there so you can focus more on the things you're comfortable doing. But Sabrina just didn't have that luxury this season because of injuries. Um, I expect Sab to continue to grow as a player. I think her field goal percentage will increase because of the new additions they have on this team. She gets to go back to her role as a shooting guard. So I expect her to be more comfortable in that role and doing what it is she knows she can do. We're going to move on to Leonie Fiebig. Leonie Fiebig is a 6'4" forward from Germany. She's going into her second year in the league. She was a rookie last season, although she was drafted in the 2020 draft. She didn't come over to play in the W until last season. She averaged 6.7 points a game, 3 rebounds a game, and 1.8 assists a game. Leonie Fiebig, just like Betnijah Laney, is your definition of 3 and D. She shoots a high rate from the 3-point line. It was some games where her shot is just so pretty and so pure. You think every shot is going in, and she almost hit every shot. She shot 43% from the 3-point line last season. It just looked like everything was going to fall for her. She made her role, and she found herself being able to crack the starting lineup because of her defensive abilities. She's able to guard 1 through 5. She's going to stay in front of her players. She's going to make it tough on players. She's going to use her help defense and use positioning well in the way she plays defense. She started in the last 15 games, leading into the playoffs. She continued to start. I just think she's like Betnijah Laney, like another 3 and D player on this roster that can stretch the floor. She can get to the rim. She finishes well around the rim. She can put the ball on the floor. She can play make a little bit. Like Leonie Fiebig is just an all-around player. Next, we have Esmery Martinez. She's a 6'2" rookie from Arizona. She hasn't played in the league yet, so she don't have any stats, but I feel like this is just another piece to have on this team. You're going to notice a trend with New York that they have a lot of international players on the team. They really value their international players. And having them on the team, and it just leaves for them to have future players in the future they can expect to come over and possibly make an impact on this team. The newest pickup for New York, though, is Natasha Cloud. She's a 5'10" guard from St. Joseph. She's going into her 10th season in the league. She was a second-round pick in 2019 at pick 15. Natasha averaged 11.5 points a game, 4.1 rebounds a game, and 6.9 assists a game. She's a 2-time All-Defensive Team honoree in 2019 and 2020, and she won the WNBA championship in 2019. This pickup for New York was much needed. Like, they needed a Natasha Cloud. They lost Sloot this offseason. They lost Sloot in the off season, so they definitely needed to add a point guard to this team who's able to fill that role, and eventually they'll be able to shift Sabrina back to her natural position as the shooting guard. And Natasha Cloud is that for them. She's capable of knocking down a 3. She's capable of getting to the rim. She's a proven passer, can set up the offense, and she plays defense. She's your typical point guard. She's going to look for her teammates first and then search for her shot. And like I said, she's able to shoot the ball. She shot 39% from the field last season. She shot 30% from the 3-point line. She shoots well from the free throw at 82%. And she gets you about 1.4 steals a game. So you have a solid point guard in Natasha where you're not asking her to do much. You're just asking her to come out there and really just set up the offense for the team, get the team into its offense, make the correct reads and the correct plays, get the ball into the correct hands. And when you get that ball back from possibly Stewie being double teamed or Jonquel being double teamed, knock down your shots, knock down your threes. And she's capable of doing that. I think this pickup right here kind of propels New York into that second championship. Like, this pickup propels them into that second championship. Next up is Nyara Sabally. She's a 6'5" center from Oregon. She's going into her 3rd year in the league. She was a first round pick in 2022 at pick number 5. She averaged 4.9 points a game, 4 rebounds, and 0.6 assists. I say Niara is the unsung hero of that last final game. She came in and she absolutely balled out. For real, for real. Like, I think her play is what propelled New York to that championship, because without her 13 points, I don't know if they get the job done. And she just came in and she played hard. She was tough. She defended well. She finished well. She rebounded well. Like, she did the dirty work for that team in that particular game. She shoots 57% from the field. She don't really shoot the three, which is okay. She is a center, so you expect her to play more in the paint anyway. And you already have a center in Jonquel who's shooting almost 40% from three. She gets you about 4 rebounds a game. 1 block and 1 steal a game, which is fine. She's a backup center. I expect her numbers to get better as her role increases. Like I said, she was injured for the most part last season. Like, she was injured for a while last season. I think she had a back injury, which held her out a lot of games. She wasn't able to play as many games as she wanted to. Um, I think she played about, yeah, she played 26 games last season out of a 38 game season. So she missed about 12 games due to that injury. And then some of those games she didn't, some of the games that say she played, she barely played. So I expect her role to increase this season just based off of what she did in that last game for the New York Liberty in that championship game. She's loved in New York. Um, she's known as Little Sably, but she's Big Sably now because she's the one with the championship. So I expect Niara role to increase. I expect her numbers to increase. I expect her rebounds to increase. And I just think she's a solid player for New York. We're going to move on to Rebecca Gardner. She's a 6'1 guard from UCLA. She was drafted in the 2012 season. She was drafted. She didn't play basketball in the W until the 2020 season with the Chicago Sky. Um, but she was drafted in 2012. She averaged 7 points, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds and 2 assists during her time with the Sky. She was on that all rookie team in 2022. Well, she didn't play in the W till 2022, technically, but she was drafted. She was undrafted in 2012. I'm sorry, she was undrafted in 2012. Played overseas for a while, then came to the W in 2022. Um, she didn't play last season because of her foot injury. She had foot surgery on her foot, so it kept her out the entire season last season. So she didn't play. But watching her play with the Sky, I like her game. I think she's just a solid bench piece to have. She's a capable scorer. She's a capable defender, and I like her game. I'm going to move on to Markeisha Davis. She's a 6 foot guard from Ole Miss. Um, she averaged 1.2 points a game, 0.5 rebounds, and 0.2 assists. Markeisha reminds me so much of Kalia Copper. Just her game and what I think she will be able to do in the league reminds me of Kalia Copper. She's good in transition. She's good at finishing at the rim. She has a mid-range shot. She just needs an opportunity. And it's hard to get that opportunity on the New York team with all of these great veteran pieces ahead of you. It's just so hard to crack that lineup because there's so many capable veteran pieces ahead of you. But I think she do have the skill. She's in a good position to learn from some of these great guards in front of her. And once she gets her opportunity, I think she's gonna be a good player in the W. This is Sahia Redard. She's a rookie from France, as you see. No points, no numbers. She should be coming over this season. I don't know if she's going to come over this season. But again, this is just the New York Liberty showing you that they value their international players. Caitlin Davis is a forward from Southern California, 6'2" forward. She's a rookie as well. She didn't play in the season at all. Raquel Carrera is another rookie, a 6'3" center from Spain. She's on this roster because New York value their international players, and they just have a boatload of them, and they're going to keep them on this roster until they're ready to come over and play. Jalen Sherrod is a 5'7" guard from Colorado. She was a rookie last season. She's going into her second year in the league. She averaged 1.9 points, 0.3 rebounds, and 0.5 assists. She got a little bit more opportunity than Markeisha because New York became thin at that guard position for a while with Sloop going down. And Jalen Sherrod is able to run the point guard position and run it well. She's a great defender. She's a hard-nosed, tough player. She's good in transition. She's very speedy. She gets downhill quick. She finishes at the rim better than she shoots the three in the mid-range. She's scrappy. Like I said, a good defender. And she's just a good piece on this team. I don't see her playing a lot of minutes this season for New York, but I do think for her and Markeisha and all the other rookies on this team, they have a good opportunity to learn from these veteran pieces in front of them because they are good veteran pieces that they have in front of them. So I expect when Jalen Sherrod get her chance and when Markeisha gets her chance or some of these other international players get their chance, they're going to come into it knowing a little bit more than some of the other rookies or international players who don't get to play and who don't have the opportunity to learn from veterans like these that New York have on their rosters. Going through this roster, we kind of already know who New York's starting five is going to be: Natasha Cloud, Sabrina, Jonquel, and probably Breanna Stewart. It's a luxury to have a battle on who's going to be your three for any team. And New York has that battle. They can choose between Leonie Fevich or Benijah Laney Hamilton. Like, that's a good problem to have. That's a very good problem to have because they both do some of the similar things. They're both 3-and-D. They both can knock down a three at a high clip. They can defend at a high clip. So New York problem at the three is a good problem to have because whichever one you send to the bench, you know you have good scoring and good defense coming off the bench. Whichever one you decide to start, you know you have good scoring and good defense in the starting lineup. And you think about New York starting five with Natasha Cloud, Sabrina, Breanna, Jonquel, and I'm just going to say Benijah. Now you have to worry about Leo coming off the bench, Izzy coming off the bench, and possibly Maureen Johannes, who I haven't even mentioned because she hasn't signed yet, coming off the bench, who's another flat-out bucket, another person who can stroke it from the three, another scorer. Like, New York have a good roster on their hands. They have quality pieces on this roster that can eventually propel them into that second championship. And I think that's the expectation going into the season, that we have a roster with no holes. We have a complete roster. We should win a championship. This is their championship to lose. This is their championship to win. I think New York roster is very scary because they have scoring. They have defense. They have multiple playmakers who can create their own shots. They have depth. They just have everything working for them right now. And it's scary. It's very scary for the league because this New York roster is for real, the real deal. They did what they were supposed to do as a championship team, go out there and add to the roster that's going to propel the roster to guarantee almost a second championship, and they did that, adding pieces like Natasha and Izzy, and possibly bringing Marine back. They did that. They did everything they were supposed to do, and it's just up to Sandy Bardello to put it together and make sure it works and make sure it meshes. They lost pieces, but they made sure to replace those pieces that they lost. So for me, I kind of see and expect New York to be champions again, back to back. I kind of expect New York to be back to back champions again, and anything less than that with this roster will be a disappointment. Um, Thank y'all for watching the video. I ask y'all to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Share my channel with your family. Share my channel with your friends. Share my channel with your co-workers. Just share my channel. Continue to support. Subscribe. Like, comment, and that's all I got for y'all.